And we are all set up and ready to go. So, we are back in Satisfactory. Last time we were here, we had made substantial progress on our adaptive control unit factory. So, now we just have to pick up where we left off and keep on building. So, I think the next thing I want to do is, this here is a logistics floor, obviously. So what I want to do is get all of these random belts to be, you know, sort of out of the way. We have those ones over there. Probably bring, like, those ones over to here. Because I just want to have space in the center of the factory for the next floor, which I believe is going to be circuit boards, because that's just sort of the next most complicated thing. Actually, do we even need... No, we probably have the space here. I mean, how many circuit boards do we need? We need 80. If we look up the recipe we're using, it's 5 per minute, so we're going to need 16 of these, and they're just assemblers. And we can fit that many assemblers in here pretty easily, I would say. Yeah, let's just go up to the next floor. And I guess we can work out where all of these have to go once this is actually built. So we can maneuver these around to avoid stuff. Alright, so this all goes in. And so we're definitely going to need the circuit boards, so let's bring those up. And it looks like I already did the splitting for them, so we just have to put 80 circuit boards in there and then we're all good to go. So we expand this foundation out, and a little bit more like that. Alright, so now this can go up there, and it's 80, so it has to be a Mark II belt, and that's that. Alright, so now we just need to get the circuit boards all lined up to go into that. So let's go back here a little bit. Feeling maybe a bit more space, but probably don't need that much. Then we put that lift in. And let's see, 16 assemblers. I think we can probably just do them in one row. Should be fine. Electrode circuit board. So we have that. And then obviously they're all going to merge up there and go in. So let's see how many this is. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now we still got plenty of space in the factory over this way, but I've lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Alright, we need one more. Alright, so these are all in, and that should be the 80 circuit boards that we need. So now we just have to merge all of these up and send them over. So unfortunately you have to Get all these mergers lined up correctly. Alright, just keep on going. And keep on going. Alright. Mergers are all aligned. Now we need to get these. Which, yeah, I can't do that at speed. It's too awkward going side to side. Get at least reasonable speed though, like this. And then we just have to fly along this way, putting the main line in. And there we go. Alright. Circuit board production is in. Now we have the rubber and petroleum coke to worry about. So rubber is also something that is going down to the lower floors in various places. And I believe this is the last use of it, right? So this is 20 rubber times 16. So that's 320 rubber. We have recorded 590 total. So that's 70, so it brings us up to 390 rubber accounted for. So where is the remaining, and is it 200? So one of those belts over there should be 200 rubber. Unless I've made a horrible mistake. That's 181 rubber. So we have like 19 rubber unaccounted for. Oh, right, for the plates. We use some rubber for those, right? Actually, let's check. Reinforced iron plates is 1:1 rubber, so that's 17.777 rubber. 0.777 plus 181.818 is 199.595. Okay, so what are the odds that there is half of a rubber missing somewhere versus the odds that I just rounded when I was doing the math? I bet I just rounded while doing the math, which is sloppy of me, but that's fine. So I'm going to just assume that that is all the rubber there. So that's fine. Now we just have to go back to here because we still need to split the rubber off evenly in various ways. Alright, let's see. There are 16 of these, and they're 20 rubber each. So we could do a speed balancer, or we could just do a 1:16. Let's see. 1:16 would be fine because it's 320 rubber, and this is what's the word? So and the max speed belts are 480. So that shouldn't be an issue. So let's just get some splitters in. And then the petroleum coke might be an issue because it's 640. So, oh, we don't need these every single one. We need these every other. Somehow, it's very easy to get distracted and forget like the absolute basics of what you're doing. Alright. So these all go in. And yeah, so with the petroleum coke, I guess we're gonna send it in on 2 belts of 320 and just do it that way. Shouldn't be that hard. Alright, so now we just put all of these in. Alright, have to make sure not to put them into the wrong ones. Alright, so we just keep going. And, alright, that is the first row of this. Now we need to do the second row, which is just a splitter on every other one of these splitters. And we're just going to repeat this process for a couple more rows until there are none left. So that should be 4 splitters there. And let's fill that belt in. And these belts are carrying 40 each. So this is fine. The next level of belts will require Mark IIs. But 40 is less than 60, so this is currently fine. Alright, so that is in. Now we have these 4, which we get a splitter, and then we skip one, and a splitter, and we run Mark II belts there and there, and there, and there. So these belts are carrying 80. So then we get one last splitter, which can go just right there. And that's going to be 160 each. Right, so then this belt goes across and in. And then we have the Mark IV belt going into it. Should cause the whole thing to work. Alright, so then the next step is the petroleum coke, which we should have plenty of space. There's nothing directly under this. I guess technically there are these, but they shouldn't be in the way. Oh, there are these. I didn't make this high enough, did I? Okay, that's probably fine. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see if these happen to go directly over top of those. Alright, so let's just get that in to see where it goes angle-wise. Because that layer is fine. And this is entirely on that layer, so this does work. Cool. Narrowly averted a small crisis there. So now we have to put all the floor holes in, so that all this stuff can get sent down and dealt with on that logistics floor. Alright. And a couple more. Alright, all the floor holes go in. And there we go. Now these are 40 a minute, so the old Mark I lift is good enough. So all of these go in. Alright, just keep these going. And then that'll be almost there, right? Yeah, almost there. Alright, so those are all in. Now we just go down below and bring them down from this side. Alright. All the lifts go down. And soon we will be there. Alright. And just about done. Alright, so those are all in. Now we need to make the splitter, which I've been doing a whole lot of these recently, and it's not super easy to blueprint them. I guess we can sort of blueprint the ones that are on level, but not really. It doesn't quite work out, just because it's just sort of too big to fit. Alright. And there we go. So now these all get their belts. And go. There we go. And there we go. Alright, now we get the splitters, which want to be as close as possible for consistency's sake. And we get them every other one. So these all go in. And across they go. Wait, these have to be Mark II belts, don't they? Yeah, because that's 80. Alright, let's fix that real quick. Fortunately, we didn't get too far. Alright, so those are Mark II belts. Now all of these go across. And done. So now we have the belts of 160. So these are going to need to be Mark III. There, and there, there, and there. Alright, so now we have our 2 input belts of 320 each. So each of those are going to have to get half of the petroleum coke. And we're just going to have those tails sticking out just so that it's easy to spot them as being incomplete. Alright, so next step is we have all of this stuff. We can make petroleum coke on this floor and feed it directly in, because we are not using petroleum coke for anything else, obviously. So let's just do that. We need to make a whole lot of it. So let's make some space. It's going to be our first refinery recipe of the factory. So that's something new, at least. Alright, so refinery. We need to get the refinery in, and it needs to... Actually, I guess what we should do is send this up. Send these up to the top floor so that we can align stuff with them up there. those go up, as does this one. And this should hopefully not be occupied, although you might have to push them out further. Alright, that one is just barely out of the way, as is that one. Good. Alright, so then these get the lifts in. And we need to leave some room for the rubber to sneak by, but that shouldn't really be an issue. So now we can just pop a refinery on here. Actually, it is going to be a slight issue. Just need to nudge you back a little bit. And I could always just have that input face a different way if it is a serious problem. Alright, so then we get the merger, which is going to go into that. And this is petroleum coke. 120 per minute. So we need 2 batches of 320. So 320 divided by 3 is 106.6667. That's manageable, so we're going to set it like that. And then we just get 3 of these side by side. And face in. So they get Mark II belts connecting them up to the merger. And then Mark IV belts connecting them up to that. So then we just need another batch of 3 that could just go here to this one. So let's just set those up right next to these, just so that it's all nice and compact. So those 3 are in. And they obviously merge up this way. Like that. And like that. And in. Alright, so that is petroleum coke done. And we just are going to need to get the heavy oil residue into all of those. So next step is, I mean, we have plenty of room on this floor. Let's just get the reinforced iron plates sorted so that we can just be done with them. So we head over here. Gosh, I've just realized powering all of this stuff up is going to take ages, just making sure I'm not missing anything. Alright, so we get over here. And this is going to need a conveyor lift, which brings it down to there. And then I suppose these are as well, although we're not going to be using them on this floor. They still do need to obviously go up past the next floor. So that goes there and there. Alright, so this is the one we care about, is the reinforced iron plates. And it's just going to be iron ingots and rubber. So we need a little bit of space, and I guess this can happen out here, which is nice and out of the way of that stuff over there. So I assume it's an assembler. Adhered iron plates. Yes, and we need 17.77 of them. And these make 3.75. Divided by 3.75. So we're going to need 5 of these. That's just my luck. 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is going to be that, which hopefully is correct. So we just paste all that across. And now we merge these up. So the reason I'm doing this is just so that we can use up all the rubber. Except, of course, for the stuff that's used in the making of the rubber loop itself and the plastic loop. But that's a worry for the future. So for now, we just get that belt all attached up. And this all goes across. And we have our plates into rubber. Alright, so the next step is going to be making the iron plates themselves, which I believe is using like steel reinforced or something, steel cast plates. So we need just like 2 foundries of those. Alright, so let's get some space back for this. And maybe one more. Foundries are like one of the funkiest shaped buildings in this game. Alright, actually what we need to do is we need to get the old 1 to 5 balancer in. And far enough back that we don't have problems with the rubber. So these get not there, that's too close in. So these get their floor holes, which will connect up the rubber, and then we can deal with that down the next floor with all the rest of the rubber. Then this floor we need to just... Will curve build mode work for this? Looks like it might. Let's get all of these in. And that is the iron plates all split off. So now we just need our foundries to go in here. And see, yep, plenty. So that goes there. And then it's going to merge up there. Steel cast plate. Get a second one. We need 52.333. Is that correct? Let's just confirm. 10.667 times 5 is 53.333. Interesting. 3.556 times 5. Alright, good thing we checked. We would have been just barely short. So we need 53.3 iron plates, apparently. And that is just going to be that. Paste that across to both of those. And in you go. Alright. So now that is down to iron and steel ingots, which I believe we have steel ingots being requested somewhere down here for the pipes, right? Is one of these the steel ingots? No. So where is the steel ingots? We haven't left it somewhere, have we? Alright, so we jump over here. This is plastic. This is rubber and quartz. This is quick wire and quick wire. So I assume this is the steel ingots then? Yes, so we do have the steel ingots. Good, we haven't forgotten them somewhere. So that is fine, then those we will deal with the ingots on a future floor. For now, we need to set up all the rubber. So, we have that. So then we need to get all the rubber into approximately one place. We also need to do that 1 to 5 splitter real quick. Shouldn't be a huge deal. Just gonna have to go under here, set up the floor for it. Alright. Then that comes down each of these. And then we can go back a little bit. Put in the 1 to 5 balancer. And then that will be good to go. Alright, so that's in. Then we just pop these across. It's not a huge amount of rubber, so we don't need to upgrade any of those belts. Alright, so yeah, the iron and the steel honestly can just go up to the next logistics floor above us, which means we can deal with it later. Then we have this rubber, which is how much? Oh, it should be 17.778. Alright, so let's figure out where exactly all the rubber is going to wind up. So we have 320 rubber here, which we're going to probably just deal with all the rubber down on this logistics floor, because all the rest of it is. So, somewhat strangely, this is going to be going down a level. And we just very, very casually swap off the rubber and the petroleum coke there. So we have 320 rubber there, 70 rubber there, 180-ish rubber, and 17-ish rubber over there. So I think first off, we should be able to get these two rubbers set up pretty easily. So I can't imagine 320 being that tricky of a number, because, let's see here, 480 divided by 320 is 1.5. So we divide it by 3, we put 2 of them together. So we take a full belt, we divide it by 3, put 2 together, and that's 320. So we should be able to get that easily enough. So, the way we do that is, hang on, let's just go over here a little bit. So we have a priority merger to start. then that is going to split and merge back up. And then one of the 3 loops back gets priority. So this is going to be 480, and it'll be 160, 160, 160, and then this will be 320. Easy. As long as we can just get all the stuff onto that. Then we have the 70 over there, which I should be able to do. Should be able to do that just how? Just 60 plus 10, I guess, is pretty straightforward. So let's start off by just getting it over there. So first, we split into that, and then I guess this only needs a Mark II belt, and it doesn't really need that. I mean, it does. Okay, it definitely needs a Mark II belt. I don't know why I said that. Alright, so then that Mark II belt is going to connect up to another fancy thing here. So we get a splitter. Ooh, a smart splitter. That's important. We get a smart splitter with left as overflow, center as any. So then we merge, and that is going to be 60 there. So then we just need to get 10 out of this, which is just the old 1 to 6 splitter. So we split it there, then we split it there. Hang on, I'm trying to think. Alright, so no. So this is splitting it into 3. That can split it into 2, right? So we have 60 going that way. And so then that would be 20, 20, and 20. So that makes that 20, which means that that is 10 and 10. So then that is the remainder of 50. And that is 70. Alright, so then we just pop that across there. And so now we have this belt of 50, which... Alright, so first we need that to go into there as Mark II. And then we need probably just back here another priority merger, which goes there and just takes that. So we have 480 going in here. 480 going in here. So this splits. Is this evenly? We don't want this to split evenly, do we? We want this to be center any left overflow. So this is 480, and then loops around so that that's 320, which means that this is only 320, meaning that this, take the remainder 120, and then do all of this stuff. Yeah, all right. I've convinced myself that this works. So now we just have to bring this over there, and this is going to be locked at 390. So now we have to do the fun part. which is getting the other splits over here. So let's grab this. Now I only have to get one of those others proper because this is speed balanced, so it will be fine. And then if we can get either one of these, then that gets the priority. Then whichever one of these gets next priority, and then whichever one of these we can't do gets last priority, and should be all sorted out. Alright, so this is the rubber, which means we don't actually want this going up. We actually want this staying down here. $181.8. I have no idea how to do anything with that number. I have no idea what fraction that might even be. But this is 17.778. So, let's see, if we just keep multiplying this by numbers. Are any of these going to come out cleanly? Times 9 is 160. Alright, we can do a 1 to 9 splitter relatively easily, and 160 should be trivial. Alright, that works. So, step 1. So step 1, working backwards, I guess, would be the 1 to 9 splitter. So we have a belt of 160 going into this. We have to just send 1/9 of it forwards, and the rest of it loops back. So we get... Gotta make sure we have enough space for this. So it's just a pair of 3 ways. So if we just go something like that. Actually, we don't actually need these two, because we're only dealing with 1/9. So the 9th we're using goes forwards. Then these two merge back. Like that. And that. So, 160 divided by 3 is going to be like... Just got to make sure, yeah, so it's going to be 50, so... Those should be clear to be Mark 1s. And then this... Alright, so then we just need the merger there, where these will take a lot, I think like 70 some each, and go back, and then that will go forwards. And you know what, let's just make this whole thing Mark II just to be sure, and then make this a priority merger with priority on left and right, so we don't put any more into this system than we need to. So, let's go back here. This belt then is 160. So the 100. So this belt. Oh, actually, wait. This belt would be 100 and would be 270. Would be more than 160, I think. I don't think I'm doing this right. I'm not sure I'm allowed to merge them back in like this, which is fine. We can fix it easily. But so this belt has to be 160. It can't be... Can't have those. So what we need to do then is have the priority merger that these merge back into on the other side of where we limit it to 160. So we're just going to have to do that. But that's 160 going in there. And there's 53 going in each of those, and then 17 going in there. Alright, so now we just have to make the 160 limiter. So that is 120 plus 40. It's relatively simple. So we get a merger. Then this is... No, wait. What am I doing? This merger actually works just fine. May as well be priority. I don't think it matters. So we have our merger, right? And then going into the merger, we have a Mark II belt, which just comes off of a smart splitter. So we have center any. Let's go with left overflow. So we have 120 going in there. Then over here, we get another splitter. And this splitter merges back that way, and we get 20 plus 20 equals 40 into that. And then this is the excess, which is going to have to loop back. Alright, so then we get another priority merger. Which goes there. That definitely doesn't need to be Mark III. So this takes left priority medium. Alright, so let's just recap to make sure that this all works. And, oh, actually what we need is, there's one step left in this. So we get a merger there. So, this goes back to there. This one is going to have to turn slightly. So you have to face that way in order to escape properly. So you come out there, and then in there. Alright, so that should be everything. So this belt is moving a whole lot. I don't know how much, but it's going to be a lot. Then this belt is moving up to 270. Then this belt is moving 120, which just merges across into that. So then, back here at this split, okay, I happen to see that this isn't actually connected across. So that's getting 120. This is getting 60. Then 20 is going there. 20 is going there. So 40 is going there. And 20 is going back. So this is 120 plus 40 is 160 here. Then we split it up into 3, and then we split one of those thirds into 3 again, and I think this works. Pretty sure this does what I need it to, and I can just put any amount on this belt, and it'll put out the correct number. Splitting is fun. Alright, so now we have 2 rubber belts which are correctly limited and one which isn't. So now we just have to combine all these up. So this comes around over here. And I guess all of these can meet up over this way. Alright, so that then comes over there. And this comes over here. I was doing the straight belt thing. Wonderful. Alright, so now we have all those. Now we just need a splitter there, which is a smart splitter, and it goes there and there. So center any right overflow. Then we need another smart splitter here, which is actually, is that's 390, that's like 17 something. Okay, so now we have to deal with the fact that there's more than 480 of it, because that's 390, that's 17, so this is fine. Then this belt will take, gosh, what am I doing now? So we have a smart splitter there. So this belt can go left any and right overflow, I guess. And then that goes over there. And then receives this. Alright, but actually, wait, no, this is wrong, because we need it to merge up with a second belt, right? So this is the overflow from the first belt, which is going to add up to 480. Then we need a second belt to feed in, which I guess we can just pop in here. This is as good a place as any. Alright, so that is a second belt of rubber. And now these two belts will be merging up and going into there. And that can be Mark III, actually. Yeah, let's make this Mark III. So then this splitter also needs to have its input, which will be right up there. And that goes in. Alright, so then this belt, we're going to label it, because this is the full belt of rubber. So this is rubber 480. And then this is also rubber, which is going to be some mysterious amount. So we have let's see, how does this work? We have 390 there. We have 17 some there. Both of those are being dealt with. So 390 plus 17.777. is 407 and some. So 480 minus 407.777 is 72.223. So this belt is 72.22 repeating. Then this belt needs 181. So 181.818 minus 72.222 repeating is 109.5957. Let's go 109.596 rubber on this belt. Completely ordinary amount, and it's probably wrong. Like, let's be real here. I probably made some error somewhere, but we'll figure that out later. 597. Was it 596? Yes, 0.596. All right. Cool, that is done. So, we have the rubber dealt with. We have the petroleum coke dealt with-ish with the refineries. So next up, we need to make the steel, probably. I mean, we are pretty quickly running out of things that need to be done here. So that's encouraging. So I guess the next step will be... Yeah, let's merge up the steel as well, because I think we're using all of it. Right, so let's confirm. So that's 8.889 times 2 is 17.778 steel. Really? Okay, that makes sense, I guess. 17.778 steel ingots there. And then we go over here. And we have 283 and 480. So 400. So let's see. 480 plus 17.777 plus 283.333 is 781.1 repeating steel. And that is the amount of steel I have us recorded as needing, which means that all we have to do is get that distributed. And I mean, we've already just recently done a splitter for 17.777, right? That's what all of this is. So I guess we just do that again, but for the steel. Alright, yeah, I guess that's fine. Now we have sort of, this whole splitting thing has sort of leached into that space, which is unfortunate, but it's also unfortunate that we haven't blueprinted that, because we could just copy paste it. But it's fine, we can easily manage. So we just get a splitter there, and it goes into there and there. Then the iron ingots we're just going to send up to the next floor above. This steel we can bring over this way. And let's try to stay out of the way of over there, because I might do the rubber on this floor, maybe. Alright, so that belt goes along over that way. Now, unfortunately, this is not the easiest possible thing to build. Like this splitter that we have to do here. It is, in fact, one of the more complicated splitters that I've made. But that's fine. That's what the fun is. So we go down, and we make some space down here. And pop that in. And let's just take that out and put it back in to make sure that it attaches through. And then this comes down. Alright, so we start with a splitter there, which goes in. Then we have this splitter, which goes into there, and into a pair of mergers, one of which I think has to point out that way. So those all go around like that. Then this gets a merger there, which is going to take a smart splitter, which goes there with 120. Let's make sure that that is connected across as well. And that these go around back, because that's important. Alright, so that is 120. Then this is very cramped, but that is another 40. And then I think, is this just it? So then this has to get a merger. So that 20 goes there. That goes there. And then this belt goes across and around there. This belt doesn't do straight mode. Goes back into there. And have I missed anything obvious? So this is a row of 4, a row of 5, and a row of 1. And it should be the same as this, right? Row of 4, row of 5, row of 1. Yes. So I've placed all of the right buildings, at least. Now I have to just go through, make sure, yeah, because that's not connected. Which it has to be. Then all the rest of this looks done. And that is that. So that will split off the 17.7, repeating into those. So now we just need a splitter, which sends some over there. And this has to be like 240, right? 280? Yes. So then this, we're going to turn it around to face this way, because this is the way this belt is coming in. And we do that. Alright, so now we have our belt of 480 and our belt of 300-ish. A little more than 300. And this just has to be a smart splitter with priority center, left overflow. Alright, so that is the steel all sorted out. Now, back onto this floor. Do we want to do the rubber loops here? Maybe. Maybe not. Let's see. I think we're probably fine to do the rubber loops on this floor. We also have, it'll also deal with the plastic as well, which will be nice. And we'll just have the fuel to show for it. Alright, so we need 590 rubber and 35 plastic. And the rubber needs to output over here with a full belt of 480 and another belt of 110-ish. And the plastic is probably just like over there. Yeah, there, that's where the plastic is. So the plastic can just, we can just send a long slow belt over there. That shouldn't be an issue. Now the question is, can we fit these in here? Just like in this space, or are we gonna have to go out behind these refineries here? Alright, so these go along like that. Let's get a bit more space and not use 2-meter foundation randomly because I misclicked. Alright, so that hopefully is enough space. So now we get in a refinery. And we're going to need so much of the recycled rubber. So this is 30 in, 60 out. So that is interesting. So we need, what is it, 590 times like, what is it, 1 point, is it 1.5 or 1.3 repeating? I think it's like 1.3 repeating. So we need 786 rubber total. So 786 divided by 60 is going to be 14 of these. Sure, that's normal. 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so let's send all of that back so that we have the space for this. And fill in that row as well, because we need a huge amount of space. This is going to be a whole thing, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then it's like 15, right? So we need one more, because of course it had to be like 14.1, or no, it's 13.1. I remember that wrong, so we only need 14. All right. So, all of these are going to be making an absolutely colossal amount of rubber. And then we need some of that to go into making plastic. So, 786 minus 590 is 196. Rubber will go into making plastic. And so that will give 196 times 2, which is 392 plastic for making this, which is more than we need. All right. Have I done the math wrong? $786.666 is the number we're looking for. So divided by 60, right? So 13.1. Yes, that's all correct. So if we're making 786, then we subtract 590 from it. We get 196.666 repeating. And that is the rubber, which will just go into making plastic. And if we have 196 rubber that's going into making plastic, then that would be that times 2. Times 2 is 393 plastic that gets made. And then all of that is, all right, then 393.333 divided by 13.1 is 30. All right, so the math all checks out. So then this has to be this is going to give us very slightly too much rubber, but I don't think I care about getting the numbers exactly right. Actually, I do. Who am I kidding? I wouldn't be doing all of this if I didn't care about getting the numbers exactly right. So it's 590. So it's 589.596. 589.596 times 1.3 repeating is 786.127. Probably 128 exactly. Yes, 0.128. 786.128 is the number of rubber. Now, I think we're going to do speed balancing here. So, most of these will be at 60 a minute and just the last couple edge cases. So, 60 times 13 minus 60 times 13. Is that even the right calculation? So that means the last one would need to be 6.128, I think. Yeah, probably. That makes sense. So we go all the way down here to this edge, and you are 6.128. Alright, so that is theoretically all of the rubber done. There's a whole lot more work to do on belting these across, but now let's just get the plastics in, just so that they exist. And how much plastic was it? It's 786.128. I need to just write that down somewhere. So, as far as rubber, total equals 786.128. And subtract 589.596. 196.532 is the amount used for plastic. internal 196.532. Alright, so then we need to do that. 196.532 divided by, what, 30? So we need 7 plastic machines. Alright, so let's grab a refinery, spin it round, and get it placed in. Alright, that sign should be moved over to there. And we should also get another sign in. So, plastic needed is, so that 196.532 rubber times 2 is 393.064. 0.064. And 393.064 divided by 60 is 6.55 machines. So we have to swap this to recycled plastic. And then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's all of those. And then the last one there is minus 60 times. So the last one is 33.064. So let's go over here and 33.064. All right. So the numbers are all in the machines. Now we just need to get the splitting, and we're probably gonna have to mess with the machine's numbers in order to do that. So the amount of rubber we need, 196.532 to go internally, is going to be, what, 3 and a little bit of these machines. So we get, hang on, let me think how we're going to do that. Do we have to finally break out the accursed 1 to 7 splitter to get this right? No, because one of these is a weird number. So a 1 to 6 splitter plus a special case, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. So we take 3 machines, gather up 180, and that should feed 6 of these machines. Alright, so that is the special case there, but I think we're going to swap that. So we get U3 merged up. Alright, so then that is going to be 180. And that will fill up six of these. So what that's going to be, every other one for the first row. And then that last one is special, so we ignore it. What do you mean invalid conveyor belt shape? What do you... Oh, that's a merger, not a splitter. Alright, so fix that. Those get to be splitters now. Alright, so these all get their belts. Then we go one step back. And we get another splitter in there. And these are going to be 60 each. So that works out quite nicely. There, there, and there. And then this is, of course, 180. So it comes out and then snaps into that. Alright, so that is now most of the plastic production dealt with. Then the last bit we need is this one, which needs 16.532 rubber. So let's just make that this one. And you can... We're going to have to send you up and over. So you go up and over, and then around, and then around some more, and then in. Alright, so that is the plastic production all supplied. Now I have messed with the numbers over there a little bit, because I've increased this by some, which means I need to decrease another one by a little bit as well. And I think this probably isn't going to end up being perfectly balanced. It just seems extraordinarily difficult to do. So now we have our plastic production. We can send it along the whole row of this stuff. Now, this one is going to be the special one. So I wonder if we just figure out how to split this, just as... No, because we're going to need at least one other special one anyway in order to compensate for it. Yeah, I can't figure this out. I think we might just manifold this. It's just such a huge nightmare to do anything else. Now we can make it a little bit better than a pure manifold. I do have some tricks for that with speed balancing, but I think purely getting it 100% balanced just isn't going to work, because there's going to be two special machines which we can't do anything about. Because there's this one, and then there's going to be one other at the end. So let's actually do that calculation real quick, just to see if it is possible. So this is 16.532, and that is a little more than 10 overs. So 60 times 13 is 780, plus 16.532 is 796.532, minus 786.128. So we need to have one that is 10.404 less than it otherwise should be. And let's just make that this one all the way over here at the end. So you can be 60 minus 10.404. Alright, 49.596 there. So now the question is going to be, can I split either of these? 8.266. 49.596 divided by 8.266 is exactly 6. The plot thickens. So, so if we do that, plus that, and then parentheses these, divide that by 7, then one is 8.266 and the other is the other weird number. Alright, that actually, we're going to have to make a 1 to 7 splitter, which is going to be a bit of a pain, but hopefully won't be too hard. But we can do that. That is an option. Yeah, let's go for it. It'll be fun. So, first we have to check to make sure that plastic isn't going to have any problems. 393 is less than 480, so we can just stick all the plastic onto one giant belt. Alright, so let's first go over to the rubber half. So this is one of the weirdos, then these ones are normal. So they take 30 each. So we can just put in a splitter every other one. And that will get us up to 60, which means we can speed balance this. And skip another 2, put that one in. And then that's the last weirdo, so we don't want to deal with that just yet. So now we put all of these belts. And then we're going to have to set up the speed balancer line. And then it's going to be super awkward that the two weirdos I've decided on are on opposite sides of the entire thing, but it's fine. We can make it work. Alright, so then we get smart splitters in to each of these, which I should have copy-pasted with the settings intact, but it's too late now. So we're just going to have to get all of those across. And first, left any center overflow. Alright, so we're going to get the main belt across. Alright, main belt is across. Now we put the side belts in. Alright, somehow it did what I wanted despite the fact that the highlight thing was something weird. Alright, so all those go in, and then we take this and we just paste it across all of these. And that one. Alright, finally we just have to merge up all of the plastic into this. Alright, the plastic starts back there. And goes across. Alright, so now all of these get mergers, and we get to turn this into one giant line. Alright, so now we put the main line of this one in. What did you do that for? Please place the belts that I asked you to. Alright, now these all just go out. Like so. Nice and simple. So that is all of the plastic. So now, we need to get the last bits of this left over at the end. Put them in the old 1 to 7 splitter. And then send 6 of the groups over there and 1 of the groups way back over there. And then we'll be done. So, time to make a 1 to 7 splitter. Hooray, it's been a while since I've made one of these, but it's just a 1 to 8 splitter with one of the sides going back, right? So it shouldn't be too hard. So we start off with some conveyor poles and we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I think at this point we remember that these have to be spaced better. Yeah, we can't do this with these this close. There has to be like a pole of space in between them. So we have that. And there. And there. And there. And there. Alright, so that is 8 of those. Now we get a splitter pointing into every other pole. And I should probably be making a blueprint of this, but too late now, I guess. Alright, so that all goes along like that. And yeah, I've definitely not left myself much space at all here. But I might be able to still fit it in. So let's try to be as compact as physically possible in this space. And the actual amount here is always going to be less than 60, so this isn't going to be a problem. That feeds into those two. That feeds into those two. Then we have this, which feeds into those two. So we have our 1 to 8 splitter. And we can just take that and pop it in there. And center is set to overflow, so that should be fine. Alright, now we have this. What we actually have to do is then merge like almost all of these right back up again. Which means that since I'm not making a blueprint, going all this way was a bit silly. But, so what we need to do is, first of all, get a merger in. I think just a regular merger works for this. So we get a merger there. And then one of these just loops back. So that makes it 1 to 7, because now there are 7 outputs being distributed evenly. Alright, so next step is we need to combine all of these back up. And yeah, definitely split. Actually making it all the way up to 7 was a mistake. But we're just going to leave it as is. So these all go back together, as do these, and then these, and then this belt comes around here and just pops in there. And gives that 25-ish plastic. Then this belt will go all the way over here. And yeah, so this is all somewhat silly looking, but should be just about there. So then this has to go up, and then into there, where it can give that a very small amount of plastic or rubber or whatever. Yeah, plastic. All right. So that, I believe, is most of that done. Now we just need to merge up the outputs for this, which is all of these that I haven't done yet, and send them all over here. And it's just these two outputs, right? 480 there, 109 some there. Yep, that adds up. So we'll start with, gosh, putting the two weirdos on opposite sides has just been an absolute nightmare in so many ways. So we should be able to take 60, 120, 180, 240, 300, 360, 420, 480, and then the rest of this will be 60 plus, then it'll be 60 there plus like the 49 or something over here. Right, this is like 49. Yes. All right. Mission accomplished. More needlessly convoluted rubber stuff just to save like a couple of minutes during startup. And probably introduce like 17 new bugs, which make all that time wasted. But it's fine. We're doing this because it is fun and satisfactory, not because it is efficient. Alright, so we have our belt of 480. That can go out that way. Then we have to merge up the other one, which I guess we can just put like there. And then grab this one. So you come around here. Go up and over that. And then that should be that. So now we run off this belt along here. And this one goes into that one. And then the full belt goes into the other one. Okay. So then we just need to hook up the fuel to everything, which apparently we need, what? 590 fuel, probably. Oh, yeah, for this at least, we need 590 fuel. We need more fuel for the plastic as well, but that is a bridge we will cross when we get to it. Because 590 is already a lot of fuel. It's right up near the limit where I don't really necessarily feel good about this working. But let's just put the pipes in. And that go there. What do you mean surface is too uneven? What's wrong with that surface? Alright, so then this belt, or pipe, not belt, can run along this way. And I guess it has to be slightly off-center there. I guess... No, that's terrible in like every possible way. Alright, let's just take all of these out and just put in the pipeline supports manually. So you, as a pipeline support, get to be there. So it's one off of that tick. Then you get to be there. And then we connect them across. And then a little bit further. Alright, so that is that. Now we just have to put all of the junctions in. Please say they snapped. They seem like they're snapping. Oh, this one isn't. Sometimes the junctions are clever and snap into what you want them to. Other times they are not. Alright, so that all goes in there. And the pipe has come down. There we go. So those are all in. And now we just have to do the same thing on the other side, which might be a little more tricky since we have some fancy belt work going on over here. But it should hopefully be fine. So if we get this pipe here, just right smack in the center of the square, then you can go across there and just run alongside the belt. Make sure to be marked 2, that's important. Alright, so then you go there, and that might be a bit of inconvenient placing. Alright, then a little bit further. And like that. Alright, so now we just have to put all these junctions in. Why are you lining up to some random thing over there that I don't care about? It's not even a pipe. Alright, so now we just get all these in. And that will be this gigantic loop done. And we're gonna just... Alright, so that one is right on a intersection support thing, so we're gonna have to just be slightly off center on that one, which is a shame. Alright, then all of these junctions go across. Couple more. I'm so excited to not have to worry about this in the future. To have, like, this was one of the most daunting parts of this entire project, honestly. And now it is mostly behind us, I think. Aside from the bug fixing stage, which who knows if this will work. I really, really hope that it will. Oh, we also need to... We're going to need to use a huge amount of resources preloading this. Just like an absolutely crazy amount. Because there's so many machines here. right. So this all goes in. And a couple more. And done. Alright, now let's grab us some rubber and some plastic. And so we only need to preload the machines that are feeding into the loop, probably. We don't need to preload all these machines, because they're just going to be outputting. So starting from this machine onwards, you get plastic, and you get plastic, and you get plastic. And we don't have any plastic left, but you can get some rubber. And you can get some rubber. And you can get some rubber. And probably gonna have to come back for this in a moment, because this is probably just simply not enough. But we'll give it all we got. And that should be that. Now we just have to, I guess we should probably meet these two pipes up. Although it does make me nervous to do that. Actually, I think I'm not going to. I'm going to leave them separate. No, that's a lie. It'll be so much easier. If there are throughput problems, we can just run another pipe the next time we do this, but alright, I don't know why I sent that down to a lower level, but that's all good. Alright, so these pipes are now all attached up, and theoretically just attaching a supply of fuel into this should get this all started if it's pre-filled enough, which it almost certainly isn't. Alright, so that is the rubber supply done. Next up, we need to... I mean, we may as well just do the plastic supply as well while we're here. So it's the same thing on a much smaller scale and in reverse. So, 35 times 1.3 repeating is 46.666. So we get that, and that, I mean, we should just require one machine of each. It should be easy. So then we need another machine pointing the other way, but still lined up properly. And this makes recycled rubber. And we need 23.333 of it. Alright, so that is correct. Now we just need to get the ratios right. So this is a single thing, so it's a little bit more, so we actually need to do splitting instead of just relying on separate belts to do it for us, but it is easy enough. Also, this isn't facing the opposite direction. It should be facing this way, and it should be rubber and 23.3 repeating. Alright, so we fix that. So this is 46.6. We need to get a quarter of it over there. So we have our splitter. We have our second splitter. That goes in. Then the rest of this all merges up. It's going that way. What have I done? placed some weird belt. There we go. So, that's half, that is half. Then that's a quarter, that's a quarter. Alright. So that is all done, and then we just have to very simply pop that belt along there. And grab some rubber to pre-fill that. And probably some plastic to pre-fill that. Alright, so that should be all set to go as well once we just get the fuel attached up. Which, this is actually... Yeah, this is actually more than 600 fuel. It's 625 total. Which means I do actually want to cut that off. Bring you along there. And then down into that. And then this one just has to go down into that. Alright. So now we have two separate pipes of fuel, and we're going to have to figure out how much goes into each. But the next thing we need to do is just figure out where we lost the plastic output, and just bring this belt over to it. Pretty sure it's somewhere in this general vicinity. Yep, right down here. Alright, now I think, just in case it becomes a problem, I want it to come up there, because we do have some inputs that we need to deal with over there, and it's all fluids, so it shouldn't be an issue, but just got to preempt things. I set that in facing the wrong way. Yeah, so that goes from there into there. And then that comes down and feeds that. Alright, plastic and rubber dealt with. Let's just feed more of this stuff in, because again, it definitely needs more of that. So let's just make sure it has it. Alright, so that is reduced to fuel. This is reduced to heavy oil residue. And then, gosh, what's left? That is moving. This is concrete. Alright, I think we go up to the next floor now. Done a lot of different things on this floor, and it's starting to get a little bit confusing about what exactly it is that has been done. Alright, now we do actually have to build a wall over here next to the refineries, because these are going to be tall floors. So up you go. Up goes the ladder. And is this tall enough? No. Goodness gracious, refineries are absurdly tall. Like, who made the refineries this tall, and why? Alright, now we should be a little bit... So that is just barely too short, which means that this should be the right height. Alright, so then these can come out as a mistake. And we are running low on fuel, so let's grab some more of that. And back up we go. Alright, so we're up here now. And this is going to be another logistics floor because they never seem to end. Probably fit more stuff into this region of this floor, but I don't especially want to be honest. Alright, so probably didn't need to make that giant space preemptively, but we have it now in case we need it. Alright, so what we need to do next is bring the pipes and the remaining belts. So this is a fuel pipe, and I guess we just... Oh great, now we have to deal with floor holes. Wonderful. I sure do love me some floor holes. They're so consistent and they work every time. Alright, there we go. That's one, and hopefully it worked and didn't just mysteriously do something weird and buggy. Alright, so now we go over here. And we're out from underneath the ceiling, so let's bring that over. Alright, now I think for the sake of organization that this pipe is going to run across the ceiling and go over to be by the other one, because they are both fuel pipes, so presumably they're going to be outputting from approximately the same setup. So over you go. The nice thing about working backwards is I do not have to worry in the slightest about head lift, because everything is going down all the time instead of going up. We are going to have to get the head lift set up at the very end, but that'll be it. Alright, so then that gets a floor hole and goes into it. Alright, so now we are up here. We have those two. Next thing, actually we need to get the heavy oil residue up. And don't use weird... It's funny, the generic foundations look so strange now that I'm used to the concrete ones. Alright, so we have that. Now we run a pipeline across. Apparently you're always supposed to do it this way, even when you could totally fit it in otherwise. Just having the pipes elevated above the machines they're feeding apparently helps remove issues. Alright, so these all get the junctions, and this is just heavy oil residue. So there we go. And you go down, and you go down, and you, and you. Alright, so that is that. Now we just need to grab, I guess one of the central ones would be better. And down you go. Alright, so that is that. Now we ascend and figure out what the next things we need to bring up here are. And we're unfortunately going to have a couple more of these refinery floors left. Although hopefully we can just get everything done in one or two more floors. That would be nice. Alright, so the next stop is over there. That's the concrete. So let's bring the foundation over. And is that even going to reach it all the way up? Probably will. Yep, it does. These are pretty long. Alright, please line up. Like that. And we have the concrete up there. So next, we have, let's see, this is all sorted, right? The iron plates and the rubber, yes. So the next thing we need is this. So the steel ingots are dealt with. The iron ingots haven't been yet. So let's just... Let's see. If we... Can we just split this conveniently like a normal person? So if we just have that go down there. And... No, we're probably going to have two separates. The vertical lifts are a bit janky and fiddly. Or the vertical splitters, rather. So those are the iron ingots coming down from above. And what is next? So the next thing that I see is stuff from down here, which we haven't dealt with yet. So we have all of this steel, which is these two. So let's bring this foundation over to get the steel sorted up, and then send it up to the next logistics floor. Alright, so that is that. Now this goes up there. That gets connected. And this is also Mark IV, even if only barely. So it goes up there. Now we get up here. And we need to bring this all the way over here. And all the way over to there. Now we send these up with that. And that. Then we go over here. And this needs a bit more foundation over this way. And up it goes. And I don't know why I did that. And there we go. Alright. Lift building is going along. So, what is next? We have the steel, we have the concrete, we have the iron. So the next thing we're missing is, looks like these two, the quick wire. Alright, so we're missing the quick wire and the rubber. Actually, no, the quick wire and the quartz crystals. That's what they're called. We should be able to just deal with the quick wire on this floor. I mean, there's still plenty of space, right? There's this whole area over here. So yeah, let's do that on this floor as well. No reason not to. Alright, so this gets expanded out into a nice big spacious area. And then we need some floor holes for these, which I don't know about the spacing, but I guess we should probably put them down here. So that's like as far back as we want to go. And then for the sake of convenience, we should have it line up with these. So like there, and that one is actually good. Alright, so we take that one out. Then these go down there and there. Those come out. Go in like that. Definitely don't need those belts anymore. And now those just come across. Alright, so now we have that. We have quick wire here. And what we need to do now is get the assemblers in. And if I recall correctly, it doesn't actually matter how we balance these, because I had the balancing set up to be properly arranged on the lower thing. So, fuse quick wire is 90 a minute. And we need like 797 of it. Alright, is this far enough back that it's going to not be in the way of that? No, we need to go back like one more. Just back to there. Should be good. So now we can go past that little bit there without running into anything. And so you are fused quick wire. And yeah, I guess so. 797.7 divided by 90 equals 9-ish. So let's get that in. 797.7 divided by 9. So we just get 9 of these in, and then a 1 to 9 splitter on the other side for the 2 inputs. And then it'll all be good. So let's get that space marked out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, going back, that one space definitely paid off there. Alright, so now we just have to make sure we don't accidentally put more than 480 in either of these. So let's round up to 90 and go 90, 180, 270, 360, 450, and so that's going to be like 450, a little less than, and then this will be less than that, so this should be all fine. Having that split carefully to make sure the numbers work out, no matter how this does, definitely is paying off here, because it means that I can just do this without thinking too hard about it. So what I had is that the quick wire shoves further down the line. It shoves all the quick wire it can onto one of the belts before working on them. So I know that however I put them onto these belts, it will work out. Why did you do that? Alright, so these belts keep going across, and then that one goes into there, and these ones continue going across, and that one goes into there. Alright, that is quick wire done. So now we just have Caterium and copper, which we need to do 1 to 9s for. So let's start by sending half of them down a level. The level below is, pretty sure it's all clear down here. Yeah, tons of space. So we're going to send half of it down here, and then the other half will be done on this floor, and then just a pair of 1 to 9 splitters, and we'll be all done with this. So these lifts all go in, and we're just doing these first to make sure we get the spacing right on these splitters. So now we get a splitter every 3 because it's 1 to 9. So that, and that. Then we go another 2, and we get that one, and that one. And finally, the last set of 3. How is this lined up? Is that one in front of the hash? No, it's directly on. Like that. And 1, 2, and 3. Now this belt can be the Caterium, I guess. Now let's just get the copper out of the way first, because it's slightly more annoying. Because it's faster. So we get one more splitter here, which these are 36 times 3 is going to be a little more than 100, but not 120. So those 3 get those, and then we have the Mark IV copper belt, which I assume this is all the copper we use in the entire thing. 36.931 times 9 is 332 point something. Yeah, that checks out. Probably was rounding at some point. I have 332 copper ingots written down in my notes. So 332 point something is probably about correct. Although it's weird that I was unspecific there. Let's go. Let's make sure that that lines up. Yep, that does line up. That's the correct amount of quickwire output, so this should all be fine. So now we drop down here, and we do the Caterium, which I don't think we need that many Caterium ingots, 66.48. So yeah, the very final belt of this is going to have to be Mark II. The rest of it is clear to be Mark I. Alright, so all of these belts come down from the floor above so that we can do them here on this logistics floor. And Thomas Shelby, hello, I'm doing pretty good. We are chipping away at this factory. We are at this point like most of the way done. We're working backwards, and we're at the point where we're starting to work with some pretty basic materials, so that's always a good sign. Ooh, that doesn't line up. So this is a tick back, like that. Yep. Alright, these belts all go in. Currently lining up the Caterium for some quick wire. Just gotta do a little bit of that, and then go back here, and one more. So these all go in like that, and that is that. We can just bring this up, I guess. So floor hole. Mark II, and that's Caterium ingots, so we're just gonna go up to the next floor with that, I think. Alright, so now we have this down to Caterium and copper ingots, so that's more progress. Chipping away at it. Every little bit seems like you aren't accomplishing much, but there's only so many steps, and if you just keep taking them, eventually you'll run out of steps that need to be taken. Alright, so then we need to send up the quartz crystals to the next floor up. And that is going to go up through there. Like that. And then stupid refineries with their gargantuan height mean that this is really quite a ways up. But not much we can do about that, aside from just work with it. Alright, so that is the quartz crystals up to the next level. And I should probably be labeling these, shouldn't I? So that's 100 quartz crystals from the previous label. So up we go. And organization, display sign, quartz crystals 100. Alright, then in that same vein, this is heavy oil residue. How much is it? 35.556 times 6. 35.556 times 6 equals 213.3 repeating? Yes. 213.3 repeating. And it is heavy oil residue. Alright, so then these pipes over there are fuel. And I don't know how exactly they're distributed, but between the two of them, it's 625 fuel. So let's go with fuel and 625. And actually, did I ever combine those two pipes up so that they can balance properly? I didn't, but I should. So so when I do this combination, it's not because I'm hoping for one pipe to deal with the entire thing. It is because I need the pipes to not, like, have one of them get all of the fluid and the other not get any. So we just stick that on. So now they can share fuel. Nice and simple. So that is that. And as long as we put the fuel in relatively balanced-ish between the two pipes, it should work its way out. Alright, so that is that. Next up, we have this. This is the copper and deuterium that I was just working with a moment ago. And it is 332 point something copper and 66 point something deuterium. Alright, let's figure out exactly how much. There are 9 of these, right? So 36.931. 36.931 times 9 is 332.379. And that is copper, which is this fast belt here. So this lift has to go up to there and down. Then this lift has to go up to there. Annoyingly slightly off center, but that's fine. And that only has to be Mark II. So 332.379 for this one. If I can jetpack my way up. I really should have gotten turbo fuel at some point. Alright, so let's make sure that's fast enough. 332.379. $332.379, and it is copper ingots. And then we have the Caterium, which again we need to check because I rounded in my notes sometimes. So 386? 386 times 9 is 66.474 Caterium. And let's just get a ladder up there. So it's 66.474 Caterium. So we go up here and we pop that in and get the label. 66.474 and Caterium ingots. Accidentally hit caps lock there. Alright, so that is all up. Then we have this, which is the steel, I believe. So this is the 480 steel. That is a 283 steel. Alright, so let's get a ladder up because we're going to be going up and down a couple of times here. And let's build that foundation over. And ladder. Go up here and label the steel. And I think this will be the floor where I make the steel, probably. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to be doing on this next floor yet, but... So this is steel ingots, 480. And then this one is 283.3 repeating. 283.333. Feels wrong. Feels like the math doesn't line up there. Right, because there's also this steel over here. 781.111 minus 480 is 301.111, which is what this is doing, right? Yeah, so this is 301.1, not just the 283 from that other belt. Alright, good thing I caught that. Could have gotten confused. Alright, so you are 301.1 repeating. Alright, is that everything? Am I missing any belts along here? I sure hope I'm not. It's going to be hard to tell. It's sort of the downside of working backwards, which is that if you miss something, it never shows up again. Whereas working forwards, if you miss something, then the next step down the road, you're going to be like, I don't have any circuit boards or whatever. But if you work backwards, then it does make that slight possibility of a massive oversight happen. So just going to be a bit careful. Look around. Everything seems fine. Don't see any... I don't see anything. I don't remember anything either. I'm pretty sure this is it. So... Oh wait, did I didn't label these. I brought them up, but they haven't been labeled. Alright, so that is what needs to happen now. So this is the iron. So this is 8.889 iron ingots times 2. So let's just let's just merge those up really quick since it is somewhat trivial. So we just pop the splitter in. And boom, boom. And this gets a sign of, just confirm that this is 17.777. I don't even have to set the default icon because it is just iron ingots. Alright, and then finally we have this one over here, which is the 240 concrete from all the way down there, which has just been passed up floor after floor after floor. Concrete, 240. We are really hilariously high up at this point, and still have at least a couple of floors to go. So this floor, let's deal with. Let's try to get most of this done this floor, honestly, so we can deal with the fuel and the steel. And those are like the two biggest projects. Maybe even throw the heavy oil yeah, so let's deal with the fuel on this first. So, heavy oil residue is going to be straight from crude oil. The fuel is going to be a whole loop situation. So let's just work backwards through that loop. So we start with some packagers, which are set to unpackaged fuel, and each of those do 60, so we're going to need 11 of these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Get a bit more space on the floor. 10. Did that one get turned around? Yes, it did. Why did you do that? 10, 11. Alright, then the last one should be set to 25 instead of 600, instead of 60. Alright, so we have all of those. And they are going to output packages. And those packages just need to go directly into water. Actually, ooh, the spacing on this isn't great. I actually want these to be the water ones. So you are packaged water with a funny ratio. You are packaged water with a regular ratio. And then we paste this all the way across. And this is just for spacing reasons mainly. So these all become packaged water. And then we get our next row of packagers behind them. Leave some space for some belts and some pipes mainly. So these are set to unpackaged fuel. And let's get the pipes in just to make sure that everything is good. So this pipe is the fuel pipe, and it's going to go along there and connect in like that, I guess. I guess probably just don't have it be a diagonal one. Have it like that. Then we have another pipe which is here, which also runs across this way and will be providing the water and going in there. And then aside from the pipes, we have the belts, which just take the packages from one to the other. Alright, so then we just need to get all 11 of these in and facing the right way. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm just realizing I don't have a logistics floor immediately under this, I don't think. That's probably fine. We have space because of the stupid refineries that if we need a logistics floor, we can cobble something together. Alright, so this last one is set to 25. And then all of these just send their belts just straight across like this. And we're going to have to dismantle those pipeline support holes so that they don't clip. Alright, so now we continue moving these pipes across as far as they'll go. And like that. And then just a little bit more. There and there. And now we put the junctions in. And it is 4:32, so probably going to, I mean, ideally we'll be able to finish off the fuel production before the end of the stream. We might not quite get to it though, and also these support poles are really in just the worst possible places, huh? Is that even gonna work? We're asking a lot of noodle mode here, but seems like it is up to the challenge. Good old noodle mode. Surprisingly effective at getting pipes in funky corners. Alright, then we put all of these junctions in. And that's just going to be as close as it'll go. And we keep going across. So like that, and that, and that. Now the pipes just noodle on in. Like that. They all go down. And done. Alright. So now we have packaged fuel comes in, packaged water comes out. So we need to get these pipes over to there. So you can drop down to ground level and just go in. And then we have to get around the other side for the other pipe, which is going to also drop down to ground level and go around and eventually in. So that should provide all the fuel. So then the water we will deal with later. The next thing we need to do is get this packaged water around into some refineries. So let's get some refineries, which, gosh, how does this work? It just outputs the single solid bit, right? So refinery, diluted packaged fuel, this makes 60 a minute. So that would just work if not for the fact that the refineries are, well, two things. One, the refineries are slightly larger then the packagers, and 2, there are these Caterium and copper belts sticking up right here, which are going to be in the way. So, instead of being able to do that, we are going to have to push this back and do some speed manifolding. So we go back to here, and this should be more than enough space. So let's fill in those. And just like squeezing between all of these various things, which probably wouldn't be in the way if this weren't on what should have been a logistics floor. So we need diluted packaged fuel, and we're going to need 11 of these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and let's expand this out a bit more, 10, 11. Alright. So we have all of these, and this is going to add up to, what, 625 items? So this last one has to be set down, of course. Alright, now let's... Actually, this should work. It's not that far off. So we should just be able to send these across. And we might have to get a bit creative in working around those. But hopefully it'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, that's completely doable. And the difference is getting less each time. Of course, the first couple are going to be basically perfectly aligned. Alright, so that is the packaged fuel production as soon as we just loop the packaged water back around to them, which is going to be easier by just merging them up and then splitting them over there, I think. So let's see, there are 11 of them. Now I can't obviously merge all of them up in one go, because I don't have belt speed for that, but I could do 2 batches of 480, and then that would be 960. Well, yeah, I could do a batch of 480, and then another batch of the remainder, I guess, and then one special one for the 25. Alright, so let's get these guys merging up, and I want to merge this one over this way, just so that it's not directly adjacent to those pipes. So that's, let's see, 60, 120, 180, 240, 300, 360, 420, 480. Alright, so we combine all these up and they make one giant belt. Like that. And then these all just go in there. Alright, so this is a belt of 480. So now we take this out, go to default mode because straight mode is horrible for slopes. Then we go up and around and all the way around this way. Alright, now we just have to hook all these up, which we can actually do very conveniently with a smart splitter set any overflow. I think the smart splitter actually isn't necessary. I think a regular splitter would also work, but I just like doing the smart splitters. So that is 60, 120, 180, 240, 300, 360, 420, 480. So then all of these get Mark 1 belts. Mark 1 belts all the way across the board. And then we get to feed in the main line, which will, of course, hello? Yeah, so the main line will carry the majority of the stuff, and that is that. So then we already connected that in. Good job. So now we have to go back and grab the rest into a second one, and just, yeah, actually we can just speed balance through the extra weird one. So that should be fine. So these just, I guess they'll just get merged up like that. And then comes out, goes over, and back around this way. So now we're over here. Alright, so now we have to be a little bit careful. So this is the one that is a weird number. So we need to set smart for center any left overflow here, which is the opposite of what we have to do for all the rest of them, to make sure that it gets only the remaining stuff. And then we just get those all in. And that. And that. Alright. So that is, I believe, the packaging loop completed. So now what we need is to pre-fill this with canisters. So we can put the canisters into this in basically any form we like, as long as they are in it. And you get some packaged fuel. You get some packaged fuel. And you. And you. And then we are going to need these last three at least to get some empty canisters as well. So you get some empty canisters, and you get some empty canisters, and you get some empty canisters, and just one more, just to get rid of all those extras. And then I will have just used all of the packaged fuel for my jetpack, so let's grab some more of that real quick. Alright, so we get the packaged fuel there, goes through there, gets unpackaged, the canisters get filled up with water, go around back. Alright, so now we just need to put the pipe in where the heavy oil residue will go. And then, so that just goes up there and across and continues going across And one more. Alright, so now we just have to line up these pipes, which is surprisingly difficult to do. But we also have plenty of space for the noodle to figure it out anyways, so it's not really a huge deal. Alright, a couple more. And that one goes in. And that one, and one more. Alright, so now we just put all of these pipes in. And that will be that. Alright, pipelines all go across. And done. So now, if we just put heavy oil residue in that pipe, we'll get fuel out the other side. And we can combine our two heavy oil residue pipes together if we want to make one giant heavy oil residue pipe, which I guess we can do that, but for now it is 4:47, so I think we're going to wrap up the stream here today. So yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. Had a lot of fun, made some really solid progress. We are nearing the end now. I mean, we basically just have like ingots and like the fluid equivalent of ingots left. So we're almost certainly going to finish on Monday. So yeah, we have heavy oil residue, we have quartz crystals, which both of those are just made from raw resources. We have over here, I believe this is the concrete, which is just made from limestone and water, so that's made from raw resources. Then over here we have steel ingots. So the steel is the one thing that is a little bit of work needed. So where's the other? Yeah, so the steel, we obviously need to make iron ingots and then steel ingots in order for that to work. And then we have this copper and caterium just poking through the floor here, and those are both ingots. So yeah, I guess next stream we make a whole bunch of ingots, and then we can there's so many machines in here, we're going to spend so long connecting all the wires up, but even so, it should be relatively quick, and then we can turn this guy on. So that is very exciting. So yeah, if you're interested in watching me finish this up, then that will be on Monday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. I also stream Factorio on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 5 Eastern Time, where we are building a giant modular train setup. So that is exciting. I'm looking forward to figuring out that. So if you're interested in either of those, make sure to follow if you haven't already so you know when I'm streaming. And yeah, that's about it.